Welcome to a new set of Devos. Not really a new set. We are continuing a series on 1 Peter, some wise words from Peter that will help you to establish yourself more firmly in the hope that we have in Christ. Why do we pick Peter? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Peter had one of the closest earthly relationships to Jesus. If you look at the inner circle of Jesus, you have James, you have Peter, and you have John. Those three were always around Jesus. They were the closest. They were the most close-knit. So it's really important if we want to understand more about how Jesus wants us to be by really focusing on the relationships that Jesus maintained and hearing some things that Jesus had, or that Peter has to say because of his connection to Jesus. So today, I want to give you some insight onto some people you know. Do you have somebody in mind right now that when you think of someone that's come through a lot of tragic things in their life, and it seems like when you see them, they just have a sense of God about them? Meaning, like I read one time, I think it was J.I. Packer in his book about knowing God. I think he wrote in there that when you meet some people, it's like they smell like the presence of God. Do you ever wonder how they got there? I'll tell you. Actually, Peter will. Every glory has a story. When you see someone that seems like they're drenched in the presence of God, or when they have certain wisdom, or when they just have a certain thing about them, keep in mind there's a story there. And usually that story involves a trial or some pain. Peter writes in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 20, "What credit is it if when you sin and you are beaten for it, you endure? But what if when you do good and you suffer for it, you endure? This is a gracious thing in the sight of the Lord." He said, everybody's going to suffer. He said, but really what benefit is when you make a mistake and you have to suffer as a result of your mistake? He said, but what about those people that they're not even doing anything particularly sinful, and they still endure, they still persevere, they still get closer to God? That is a gracious thing to God. That's a glory. That's a wonderful thing. And so that's the type of person that you most admire, somebody that's come through things and they hold on to Jesus with all that they are, and when they come through those things, they're closer to him than ever before. Every glory has a story. The people that you know the best, the people that you look at and go, oh, really, I wish that I was like them. Well, you don't want to know what it's like to have walked in their shoes. But the beautiful thing is, if you right now are in that situation, if you're in a trial, if you're in a circumstance that's overwhelming, that story is going to become a part of your future glory. One day you're going to come through that, and you're going to thank God that he allowed you to come through that as you held on to him, because your faith is going to look different. Your reaction to circumstances is going to look different. You're not going to be the same version of yourself. You're going to be an enhanced version, now thinking through faith in a different way. Things never get easier. You just become stronger in faith.